are. These 5 cars are all vying to be AutoGuide.com's 2018 Car of the Year, and they all represent the best of what's new.
Exactly. They've all moved the needle both for their respective brands and the automotive industry. In short, they stand tall above all the other models that were introduced for 2018.
Toyota's Camry is totally new both inside and out. With stylish new duds and better driving dynamics than ever before, this stalwart sedan is really gunning to elevate the mid-size segment and reinvigorate the brand.
But Honda's not about to let that happen. Also debuting for 2018 is a totally redesigned Accord. Sporting turbo torque and tons of tech, it's trying to do what the brand's Civic small car did a couple years ago, win.
Unlike its Japanese rivals, Kia isn't really looking to compete in the family sedan segment. Rather, it wants to redefine it. With rear-wheel drive, lift-back styling, and Germanic good taste, it's refreshingly awesome.
Mixing things up in the small car segment is Subaru's brand new Impreza. More refined than ever with a spiffy new interior, it once again outsmarts rivals by offering standard all-wheel drive.
Bringing some excitement into our 2018 Car of the Year competition is the sophisticated Alfa Romeo Giulia. It is gorgeous inside and out, and this sedan drives even better than it looks. And before we get started, there are a couple things to go over. As in years past, we've tested all of these cars extensively, both in real-world driving and on the track.
Though an important reminder, this is not a comparison test.
No!
Each model stands on its own, and our comprehensive score sheet will determine the car that drives away with top honors.
And to help us out this year, we brought along Sammy Hadjasad. He's our road test editor.
Hi guys! I'm so excited to be here! After all my hard work at AutoGuide...
Keeping things relevant, we wanted to make sure the cars we highlighted were affordable to most people. Then Alfa decided to send us an $84,000 quadrifolio, and we couldn't say no to that.
But we won't let the price taint our opinion of these cars. The vehicle with the most points will win.
And whichever car gets the most points will be awarded as AutoGuide.com's 2018 Car of the Year.
Come on!
Let's go! All right, so we're out here on the Angeles Crest Highway, and it is honestly one of the best places for evaluating cars because the roads here are probably some of the most beautiful in the country. The weather is always amazing, and we've seen like a million cars and motorbikes go by.
It's perfect for car spotting. I love it.
So there is going to be a little bit of noise, and I apologize for that, but we're here for our Car of the Year evaluations. What do you think, Craig?
So we've got 5 great vehicles lined up this year, really the best products that have come out for model year 2018. And to get through these, why don't we start with the most expensive model, which is also coincidentally the one with the most horsepower. Of course, I'm talking about the Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifolio.
I love the Alfa Romeo. Like every time I get in one, it kind of recalibrates my settings for what, you know, steering and driving and handling should feel like. It's just really rare.
It's something special. It's so good.
Just feel the way it sticks in the corners. I absolutely love this thing. Woo! And there's a lot to like about the Alfa Romeo, from the way it sounds, the way it steers.
Oh my God, yes. It's also like the prettiest car in its class, hands down.
Yeah.
And they've somehow managed to like integrate all the safety stuff and all that, and yet it still looks so damn good.
I know it, I know it.
Let's get a little bit closer and I can point out some of those things that really make it feel exotic. Like look at all the carbon fiber trim bits here. I love that. And like actual functional hood vents.
You never see that these days.
No, they're usually like just
even in this
plastic.
segment, right?
Yeah.
While you're over there, Sammy, why don't you pop the hood?
I love this engine. Like this engine is one of my favorite engines, maybe on sale right now.
Yeah, it's a 90-degree V6 developed by Ferrari, right? 505 horsepower. This thing shits and gets when you nail it. Here it goes.
But you know what else it does? It stops, man.
Yes, it does.
Oh my God, those brakes are so good.
This will peel your face off. You don't have to exfoliate if you do a panic stop.
See all that carbon
is that?
fiber?
In the body, they use a ton of it, so it's really light. It's just such a pure car. Even just for like a compact luxury sedan, it's so pure. And I think it's way better than anything like BMW puts out
It's
right
got
now.
emotion and passion too.
Yeah, but it's really not perfect. Like there
Yeah.
are a lot
There
of
are,
issues
yeah.
with the Giulia.
They're all inside pretty much, right?
Like little things that shouldn't even be a problem. Like the trunk release button is like way in the foothold.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it just,
Even the paddle shifters, which, you know, this car's got a great transmission, but these paddle shifters are actually in the way of the turn signal.
I hate
and look at
that.
how much you have to stretch to get to this.
you know what I
That's
also
insane.
hate about this? It has one of those stupid turn signals that bounces
Oh,
back
yeah, that
into
doesn't-
center. I actually love the interior of this car.
It's beautifully
well,
done.
yeah, even from the inside.
What about-
I disagree with you on the interior here. There's no space in the back seats. This car could have been a coupe, no problem. And there's a lot of wasted space up here. And why is the infotainment system like this?
I do hate the infotainment system. It drives me nuts because like FCA has Uconnect, which
is
is
so good.
the
It's so
best.
good.
It's one of the best infotainment systems, and this one's just so janky to use. Anytime I have to do something like change the radio station or even use the turn signal, it just makes me so mad. Like, why couldn't they just put a little bit more effort into making everything more user-friendly? And I think it would have gone a long way.
It's a little stiff, it's uncomfortable, the seats are tight, and it's very expensive. If you're trying to pick a car of the year, it's got to be something that's attainable. And for me, that might not be this car.
So yeah, obviously that's a very big concern because this car, 84 grand.
Yeah, but the base model you can get for around 40, which for an Alfa Romeo, an exotic nameplate, I think that's a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
That's still the most expensive car we have here today. I mean, I don't know if everybody's going to be interested in buying a $40,000 toy.
Yeah. Well, why don't we check it out and see how well the Quadrifoglio did on our score sheets just to see how it stacks up.
Nice, okay.
Points were awarded by our cadre of editors in more than 20 separate metrics. Averaged, these are the figures from which our total scores were derived. Not surprisingly, this Italian beauty's powertrain earned lots of points from our editors, though as you'll see shortly, it did not run away with this category as we all expected. The interior portion of the evaluation is what hurt the Quadrifoglio most. Illogical controls and confounding infotainment tech cost it dearly.
Which one do you guys want to do next?
I think we should talk about the Subaru Impreza because we went from the most expensive model, we should probably go to the most affordable car. This one starts at around $19,000, and like Subarus have always come with standard all-wheel drive, this one does the same, and that used to be the only reason to get a Subaru. But now they've done a lot to the car. They've made it much more fun to drive. It's got all those eyesight safety features, and I think it still looks pretty sharp and is pretty practical.
It's a
as well.
handsome little car, absolutely.
Additionally, you can get it in two body styles, that hatchback and a sedan, so there's a lot of versatility for consumers.
But it's so slow.
Oh my
Okay,
goodness.
I'll agree with you on
152 horsepower, 2-liter 4. I think they like overestimated the output by double because it
Yeah,
feels so
it's just so slow.
lethargic.
Like especially out here on the Angeles
Oh,
Crest,
yeah.
right? It's just
You're at
not
altitude climbing a hill.
not built for this
No.
type of road.
No.
But honestly, it's one of the slowest cars I've ever tested, even for a compact. I just wish that it got going a little bit faster. I bet in the future, they're gonna have something a little bit more powerful, a little bit more responsive, and a little bit more fun to just round out the Impreza. But right now, it doesn't have the powertrain that it deserves.
But the chassis is really good. I really like the chassis.
And that platform is going to translate for a more successful Subaru in the future. This is in the Crosstrek. It's going to go in some of their other cars as well, and I think that's a really important part to
What did you
consider.
guys think of the steering feel? Because I actually thought it was second best to the Alfa.
No,
it's
you
got
didn't.
this crispness on center.
Really?
Yes!
I don't know if it's second best to the Alfa, but it was really
In this
surprisingly
group.
good. And I love it when a car just surprises
Yes.
you with something like that. And I know you said that they've improved the interior. I don't think that's 100% the case. There's a couple of inconsistencies, like on the door panel. Let me show you this.
Yeah.
Right here in the front door, there's a really good looking trim piece. It looks like carbon fiber. Take a look at this.
That's all right, yeah.
It's pretty cool, right?
That's not
Nothing wrong
bad.
with that.
Take a look at what we've got in the rear seats. It's like a textured plastic instead of the smoothed over one.
Oh my God, it's totally different.
And then not only that, but like this is a different trim than what's under the door panel there. As well, when you jump in, there's a lot of displays here. There's one right in the center, there's one right on top, and then you've got this nice touch screen here, which has been improved. I'll give Subaru credit for that. But Starlink isn't all that good.
Yeah, so I tried putting in an address and I was typing in the letters and half of the letters didn't even show up.
I know what you mean, and just scrolling through the screen, that's incredibly frustrating.
All right, but we got a few other things to talk about, right? I mean, fuel economy is quite impressive with,
Pretty good, yeah.
with the Impreza.
You can get almost 38 miles per gallon on the highway with this thing.
With
and I think
all-wheel drive, too.
pretty impressive.
That is
amazing,
pretty
right?
impressive. You know what though, there's really nothing about the Impreza that makes me go, wow, like this is a really compelling choice over everything else in the market.
I mean, like the Civic is really good,
It
right?
is really good, and can that compete with the Civic? Like, I'm not that sure.
I don't know. I mean, it's a tough call.
It really is. But one number that really jumped out at me on the spec sheet is trunk space. 12.3 cubic feet with the sedan. That's nearly as big as the Camry,
That's huge.
which is a class above.
And you get even more with the hatchback.
How many?
Even better.
20.8 cubic feet.
Nice.
I can't read.
20.8?
In the hatchback.
That's insane.
I know.
Yeah. So sort of a mix of good and bad with the Impreza here, but let's see how it stacks up to the rival models for our car of the year. Let's check out the score sheet. Despite a noble effort, the Impreza seems to be lagging in most categories. It's a solid small car and will compete extremely well with rivals, especially in regions where customers need all-wheel drive, but AutoGuide editors felt that perhaps Subaru could have done just a little bit more.
Craig, you mentioned the Camry. Why don't we dive in and start talking about that aggressive-looking midsizer?
Yeah,
Do you think it's a little too aggressive though?
I definitely think it's a little too aggressive, especially for what it is. It's a, comfortable family ride. Why does it look so angry?
Yeah.
They want to show they have passion, right? Come on.
Under the hood is a 2.5-liter four-cylinder.
You can still get it with a V6.
That's pretty sweet.
That's kind of a standout feature these days. In
It
the
really
midsize
is because
segment,
they're
right?
just dying
Yeah,
left, right,
yeah.
and center.
And what I found about this car is it sipped fuel. Like, I mean, I don't think
Either the fuel tank is like 800 gallons or it runs on air or something, because we drove it for 2 days.
Yep.
We idled extensively with the air conditioning on.
Packed full of people and stuff.
And the needle, it took 2 days for the needle to on the gas gauge to go below the full mark, the top line.
It's been our #1 spot. Every time we're shooting any of this stuff, we're just hanging out in there with the air conditioning blasting, and it still reads like 32 miles per gallon. I don't know how that's happening. But you know what? There's a lot to like in this car too. We've got adaptive cruise control.
Standard.
Yeah, that's amazing. We've also, in that car, we've got a head-up display. We've got a really nice parking camera. I found...
361,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
super easy to park this
And you
thing.
can actually have it like, it kind of pulls out the way they stitch the images together. It looks like a little model of
Like
the
a little
car that you
toy.
can spin around.
Yeah.
It's kind of neat.
What about the way it drives, Craig?
I'm in the curious position. I think I'm going to be the one defending the Camry here.
Really?
I'm not afraid to admit it's not the most fun car to drive. I mean, the ride is pretty soft. It gets a little bit floaty going over bigger bumps, and the steering, there's not a whole lot of connection between your hands and the road. But still, after a long day, you want a car that's comfortable. You want a car that's quiet, a car that's smooth, and the Camry delivers all of that, even in XSE trim, which is one of the sportier models.
Despite the way it looks, which is really funky, it doesn't drive the way it looks. And additionally, I don't know what to recommend about it.
They kind of missed out on key areas that I think like people are really looking for these days, like no Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. They're still using some weird proprietary thing, but that can be a deal breaker for some people these days. Like not having that tech in your car.
Yeah.
I don't know if people might be pissed off by that.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of performance? We got the 2.5 4-cylinder. It's naturally aspirated. That's the base engine and the one that's probably going to power like 90+% of Camrys. Because I thought it moved pretty well until you got to the hills. Then it was a bit taxed.
Struggled a little
But
bit.
again, it is the base engine, right?
Right.
I thought the transmission was excellent.
That
Super
the
smooth.
8-speed.
That
It's an
new
8-speed
8-speed?
auto. Yeah,
Yeah.
like it boom, boom, boom. It's quick. It never misses a beat, at least in my driving.
The rest of the cars here, with the exception of the Subaru, which we already established was kind of slow,
Yeah.
the rest of the cars cars here are turbocharged, and you can feel that. In
That hit of
mid-range,
torque,
yeah,
boom.
Yeah.
right in the mid-range. You're never wanting for power.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and here you're just kind of waiting.
It is kind of satisfying because about 4,500, it gets
Yeah, yeah.
jazzed up, it gets going, right?
Dancing.
Yeah, absolutely.
This car starts around 24,000. Is it worth that?
I can't help but feel that Toyota kind of called it in with the Camry because they knew they were going to sell boatloads of it, even if it wasn't the best car in its segment.
Absolutely. It feels like maybe they're relying on the reputation of the Camry and all the previous sales of Camrys before. Like I said, I think it's always been a default for some people. I need a car, let's go get a Camry.
That's a really good point. And I think that kind of, Craig has a sad face.
Yeah. The biggest problem with this car is the white one right there.
What's that?
The Honda Accord.
Oh, dear.
Everything about the Camry has been overshadowed by this Accord, and I think you can't talk about the Camry
Yep.
without bringing up the
Well,
Accord.
we're going to get to that one next, but first let's take a look and see how well the Camry did on our score sheet. The all-new Camry is a car we wanted to love, though it always seemed to resist our advances. Still, this best-selling family sedan acquitted itself nicely. From powertrain and chassis to interior and marketplace categories, it's always in the hunt, never earning top honors or falling behind. Middle of the Road has described the Camry for decades, and it appears to be standing pat for 2018. So here's a question for you guys, something I was thinking about. Why does Acura still exist, right? Because this new Accord
It's
is
so good.
I know, man. It's amazing. It's got all of the stuff that you would want in a luxury car like an Acura, but it's a Honda Accord. And it's got all the fancy technology that we're calling out about the Camry, and they're all a little bit better. I think it's called Honda Sensing.
It's sort of their suite of stuff, right?
Yeah, and it's standard.
I know, I love that, but there's more than just that in this car.
You can tell Honda people have a really good attention to detail. You know, everything that you could possibly want in a car like this, it's here, and they didn't forget anything.
It's roomy, it's efficient, it's affordable, it drives well, it's fast with the 2-liter turbo. It has a lot of great technology as well. The interior,
And sure, it has all those safety assistants and driver assists, but what I absolutely love is all the little things. Look at this new infotainment display, which is massive and really responsive and easy to use. And there's a nice digital dash, which is really high quality, and there's a head-up display that's full color. Honestly, this car has it all, and it really raises the benchmark for all other midsizers in this class.
it checks all of the right boxes, and I think makes it perhaps the ideal family sedan. It really is, because it's a jack of all trades. It can do everything.
What doesn't this car have?
It even has a volume knob.
Thank God.
You have
Oh
that
my
stupid
gosh.
slider thing that doesn't work.
But I mean, it shows you that Honda is kind of listening to their customers, right? Like
Yeah.
they're really tuned in to what they want. And I think because of that, they've just created like a really complete package.
Oh yeah.
And I don't think that's something that Toyota did. Like,
No.
And I was just going to say, under hood, we've got two turbocharged engines. You got a 1.5 as the base unit, and a 2-liter, which we have here, which shares some parts with the Civic Type R, which they sort of drop in the press kit, right?
Yeah, I know.
Civic Type R.
even though it's like a little bit detuned.
It's probably like the few bolts or something on the crank,
Yeah.
on the rods or something, but
But I mean, it drives really
Oh,
good
it's
because
amazing.
the result of it, right?
10-speed auto works pretty well. It drops gears quickly, although I think shift quality could be a little bit better. This is not a big deal, hardly a deal breaker, but if you punch it in this thing, holy cow, it might be faster than the Stinger, and that's no joke. This thing scoots when you nail it.
One of the things that really surprises me about the Accord is how actually fun it is to drive, and that's something that you don't really see in other family sedans. You know, you just expect them to do their job without any drama. I think the biggest competitor to the Accord in this competition for Car of the Year is the Kia Stinger, because it's really a toss-up between the two. It's really hard to decide which one's going to take it.
Now the biggest disadvantage to the Honda Accord is that there's just no emotion. In comparison to the Alfa Romeo and the Kia Stinger, it's a little boring. I think the main problem with it, it's not that cool. Everyone's had a Honda Accord in their life.
Yeah, it's kind of the Camry problem, right?
I mean, it won't really stand out in a parking lot. Like, no one's going to look twice at it.
Yeah. And some people may not love the design. I've heard a lot of criticism about it. I happen to think it's quite handsome myself.
I kind of like it. Some people don't like the chrome unibrow.
I don't like it at all.
I don't mind it.
Something else, I don't know if you guys saw this. Let's check it out on the door here. I don't know if y'all saw this. but the trim on the door here is actually
Oh yeah, look
Oh
at
my
that.
God.
coming off. And it's doing the same thing on the other side.
kinda
But
shifty.
yeah, it could have left the factory like that. Does not make a good first impression at all. But what does, once you pop that door, is an absolutely gorgeous interior.
They did a great job with this interior.
The textures are rich. The design is tasteful. The buttons feel nice.
And there's so much space. I love that.
Front or back, there's tons of room.
And it's really user-friendly inside too. Like there's no real learning curve on how to use stuff.
Except maybe the shifter
Except
that you
maybe
get.
the shifter.
And the navigation. I can't get the navigation voice prompts to work at all.
She's just shy.
Yeah.
It has a name. It's Deborah.
Come on, Deborah, call me. Tell me which turn to make.
Is there like a setting or something? Like it
I
just,
don't know.
she
We
just
can't
doesn't
figure
work?
it out. But besides that, honestly, it's a fantastic ride, and it's got a pretty strong case here to be car of the year, I think.
I think
It's
Yeah.
certainly one of the front runners.
Yeah, let's see how it does on the score sheet.
Absolutely. Wow. We knew the 2018 Accord was good, and it looks like it could even win the powertrain category. Its strong and refined 2-liter 4-cylinder engine helped it outmuscle the Quadrifoglio here. It also dominated the interior section of our score sheet. This just might be our newest car of the year.
So that leaves us with the Stinger, the Kia Stinger, which is, I think, one of the most highly anticipated and
pretty
most
exciting.
impressive cars of the entire year.
Yeah.
Like, do you guys agree with that?
Absolutely. And you mentioned it earlier during the week of testing that this car really surprised you, and I agree 100%. And I'm really impressed with what Kia's been able to do with this car. And we don't even have like the full spec 6-cylinder one. We've
Yeah,
got
this is the base model.
We just got the regular 4-cylinder, and
It scoots.
Yeah,
It scoots. Yeah.
absolutely.
And you know, it's sort of a different take on the family sedan, right? You can have an Accord, you can have a Camry, or you can have this sort of lift-back Kia with German styling and a beautiful interior.
And rear-wheel drive,
Yes.
or all-wheel drive if you want it.
Yes.
It's the kind of disruptive car that will send its competitors kind of scrambling to keep up. Once you drive it, it really becomes obvious that this is something special, and this will change things for Kia as a brand, and might even change things for the whole industry.
it drives like no other Kia before it. It's super fun.
And it's a Kia. They used to make cars that were like disposable cups. You just throw them away when you were done. Not anymore. This looks like it could have been an Audi from 4 or 5 years ago. It's that nice.
You know, automakers are always throwing around words like passion and adrenaline and all that kind of stuff. And cars usually just end up falling a little bit flat and being boring and uninspired. But I can easily recommend this to anyone who might be looking for a BMW but maybe can't afford one.
And beyond that, it gets looks, and that was something that surprised me.
Yeah.
We got a lot of questions about this car.
Yeah, like we
valet or
picked it
something?
up from valet. All 5 different valet guys were looking at it, asking us questions about it. It was the first time they ever seen it, and they
Wow.
were losing it.
Yeah.
Like, try doing that with an Accord. Nobody's
does
gonna
not
do
happen.
that.
Absolutely
it
not.
It won't happen.
Yep.
So we got the 4-cylinder engine, 2 liters, 255 horsepower. It's
Yeah.
pretty good for 2 liters.
Yep, and then you can get the V6 one that has 365 horsepower.
Damn,
which
son.
is nuts.
Yep.
I've driven them both, and the V6 one is really the one you want. I feel like it just helps bring the personality of the Stinger.
I would go beyond calling it decent. The 4-cylinder one is good. It's very good, and it reminds me of so many other German sports sedans.
Yeah,
What's
and
it
you know,
start at, by the way?
you can have it for like 32, 33 grand for a base one. It maxes out at about 52. But that's
Okay.
that's all in. You get all the bells and whistles, all the tech,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
V6, all-wheel drive, everything.
And right here on this stretch of road, I didn't want to get out of it. I mean, I know the Quadrifoglio, you can pick up a lot of speed in that thing. The Kia feels so much more natural, and you can have a lot of fun in that as well without endangering or going beyond your own limits.
What about downsides? Are there any? For me, there was one, and it was the driver's seat was kind of flat, and I couldn't like tip the lower cushion up to the angle that I wanted. But that's not a deal breaker.
Yeah, I mean, that and the fake hood vents kind of annoy me, but other than that, there's really not that much wrong with it. Like, it's hard to find any faults.
The back seat could be a little bigger, a little more headroom too.
A
Maybe.
little more headroom, yes.
It's not like
but
the Accord.
there could definitely be more headroom, but There's a ton of storage space in the
Sammy's
trunk.
obsessed with this trunk.
Every
This is
time
like
you
the 10th
lift,
time you've brought this up.
every time you lift that tailgate and you realize just how much space there is in there, I fall in love again. I think that's
You're thinking of all the trips to, IKEA or Costco. You can be a prepper, Sammy.
This is a perfect road trip car, and I can see myself going on a week-long road trip, packing that thing full. I love that.
It's just so easy to live with too. Like everything is very user-friendly.
You're not
the
looking
interior's
for any-
nice.
yeah.
It's very luxurious. Even the base model is pretty luxurious for what it is. They've done a good job packaging it too. They've made it really competitive.
Well, let's see how she did on the score sheet. Good idea?
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's check it out. With tasteful design and a rear-wheel drive architecture, the Stinger had no trouble keeping pace with the other cars in this 5-horse race. Proving Kia can compete with the best, it took top honors in the chassis, exterior, and marketplace categories, clearly rising to the top with Honda's new Accord.
So we've had the chance to drive these cars on these amazing roads one final time.
Yep.
What do you guys think?
There's a lot to like here.
They're all really good, right?
I know.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to pick one winner, but I think it's kind of between two cars right now. Would you agree with that?
I think so. I think we
Yeah.
kind of narrowed the field down a little bit.
So, I mean, I'm not really sure the Camry is going to make the cut. I feel like in general, it's just the potential was there, but they didn't really max out on making it the best possible car in its segment.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't know what about it is so compelling to consumers right now.
They could have gone farther, and it's really overshadowed by,
The Accord.
yeah.
Yeah, because the Accord is just, as
Sorry
a
to
whole
say.
package, I just think it's so good. And it's so well thought out. And you can really tell where they put like really good attention to detail. And that's something I think the Camry just kind of lacks. And I mean, the Accord just drives so well for a family sedan. Like that chassis is gold.
It delivers all that, and then it's affordable.
Yep.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
But one car that's not affordable.
Yeah.
Alfa Romeo! And I mean, we love Alfas, but they're just
frustrating.
It's so,
Why is it so close?
I want to love it and I want it to do so well.
Why?
But it is so flawed and it hurts. It hurts, man.
It's an abusive relationship.
It really
you're going to be at the
is.
dealership every week, probably.
Yeah, and like
Something
shelling out a
fell
whole
off.
bunch of money for, you know, like updates to, you know, infotainment that breaks or like, you know, getting the alarm to stop beeping.
I don't know what's in the water there, or what the development team did. The steering is so good. It's just, why can't everything feel like that?
I'm sorry. Every time, if you hit a pothole or any uneven pavement, it shatters your teeth, and then
It's not that bad.
and then
Stop.
You're worried that like something might have just
Come on.
broken on it when you do that. I'm
Like you see
Hyperbole
something
mine.
flying,
yeah, and I'm like,
parts.
oh my god, yeah, like it's tense. I think.
That's where you're wrong, Sammy. I mean, agree to be.
And
you're
the
wrong.
rear seats are not comfy either.
It's rear seats.
Yeah, you don't need
Who
passengers.
needs that?
Are you kidding? Come on. If you're gonna sell something with 4 doors,
All the magic goes to the left front seat.
Yeah.
Just
It's all that matters in the
it's
Alfa.
coalesced.
it needs to be a complete package like the rest of the cars here. and it's
Yeah.
not that.
Exactly.
That's a good point.
What about the Subaru? How'd you guys like that? Thrilling.
You know what, for what it is, and if you look at all the other compact cars on the market right now, it is probably one of the best.
Absolutely, right
Yeah.
up there. Yeah, interior's buttoned down. It's really
Comfortable.
nice. It's comfortable.
I mean, it's still not perfect. I still think they could do a little bit more to bring it up, you know, to compare with like the Golfs of the world and stuff like that.
Dangerously slow, though.
It is slow.
It's really
Lethargic.
slow. Oh
It's
my god.
very
Punch
slow.
it and it just like.
It's a pretty accurate sound effect.
You can't do anything in it in a hurry, right? Like that's my biggest.
But it is very decent.
For the segment.
And you know, it's something that I can comfortably, you know, tell my friends, you know, this is pretty great.
Yeah.
If this is what you want, it's a good choice.
Especially if all-wheel drive is on your checklist of must-have items.
Yeah.
You know, before you used to get an all-wheel drive car, but you got
else.
you got nothing else. Your interior was really boring and drab. The car just didn't feel buttoned down. Now you get some cool technology as well. That EyeSight suite of technology really does the trick in an affordable car.
Kia is affordable too.
Yeah, it just drives so well.
Yeah.
And not just for a Kia, it drives well, period, like in the whole segment, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's really important to know too.
I have one thing on my wish list for that car, and you're gonna know this. I need a manual. I would love a manual on that thing. Can you
Yeah.
imagine how much fun that would be?
It
Get
would
in
be.
line with the other 6
I
people,
know.
right?
I know,
That's
no
like-
one else would buy it. That's
Really?
the thing,
You
but
wouldn't buy one if it had
I
a manual?
would, but we're
Okay.
enthusiasts. Like
Yeah, they're-
regular people, they don't want to shift their own gears
I don't
anymore.
know. This is
They
supposed
want
to be a
that red
global
car in the
product,
middle
and maybe
there.
we'll sell
That's
it
what the
all
regular folks want. Yeah.
That's my only thing I wish it had. But there's one way to truly determine the winner.
We got to consult the score sheets, right? Only there will we determine which car drives away with the 2018 AutoGuide.com Car of the Year honors. But I'm going to leave it to you guys. I'm not really good at math. You guys could total it up, please.
Is that because I'm Asian?
Maybe. Well, here's how everything shakes out. What a shocker, the Giulia did not win the powertrain category, falling behind both the Accord and Stinger. Also surprising, our judges awarded top honors to the Kia in our chassis and exterior sections, but Honda struck back, winning a commanding victory with its commodious and high-quality interior. Finally, the Kia also cleaned up in our marketplace category.
Well, the numbers have finally been tallied and a winner has emerged.
But before we announce the 2018 AutoGuide.com Car of the Year, let's give a shout out to all the makes and models that couldn't be here.
Maybe our lives were not meant to collide from the start, but who could foresee the
Craig, stop wasting everyone's time. It's the Kia Stinger.
Thanks, Sammy.
You got it.
You know, in the end, this was a super close race with the Stinger narrowly edging out the Accord by an average of just 6 points out of a possible 200.
Yeah, we really think the Stinger deserves this award because not only did it want to do things differently, it wanted to do things better. So congratulations, Kia.
I don't know why Sammy and Jody are on the camera. It's bullshit. There's nothing wrong with this car. Let me tell you. Punk ass mother scratcher.
Woo!
Whoa. Jody!
Ah, it.
You were like I heard a bullet ricochet when you took off.
Oh, and the wind died down for like a second.
I
Oh
clamped
my
it into
God.
submission.
You want a piece of me? Come on.
I want the whole thing.
Mark.
I want the whole thing. Put up your dukes.
Bam! Okay. Whoa.
Are we good? Ben, you can put it at the end, okay?